Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Astral Drive Episode 4. We have to pull a little bit of an audible today for a couple of reasons. There's been a lot of scheduling changes and family emergencies and all sorts of stuff over the last couple of weeks. I also finally finished the revamp of the skill system for the single mod game. We were going to do this off camera, but we just didn't get the time. So with that in mind, I did get it done with Aether and Gerald Abrego. And he has a family emergency just recently that he has to take care of. He might jump in later if he can. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over the skills and redo the skills for Nulla Stonehand, Philbilly 330's character, and Alfred Whitecastle, Wizard Respite character. And then you guys get to see a little bit more of the system that we're playing with, since this system is a system that we're going to be producing towards late June. We actually haven't released it yet, so you guys get to see a little bit more of what we're playing with. So, first and foremost, let me introduce the people. I already kind of said their names, but Philbilly 330, the Build Master General. Hello, sir.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Astral Drive.
And then Wizard's Respite, our unofficial TTRPG partner.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing all right. Let's get into these skills. So, the way we're going to be revamping the skill system, instead of it being something that's a little bit more specific, I really want to do something that's much more broader, much more all-encompassing, something where there's a certain number of skills right off the bat, and they just kind of all coalesce into anything. Just kind of, the idea behind this game is quick and easy character creation that's simple to understand. Everything in this game should be quick and flow easily. So with that in mind, I have revamped the skill system. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to take a look at the document. They all have access to the document, guys. But the way it's going to work now is each attribute has 5 skills. This is not including the setting-specific skills, which are Spellcraft, the engineering one that I can't remember off the top of my head, and then the next magic. Those magical skills are their own things, specific to the world that we're playing in, which is Astral Drive, which I'm going to release that too at some point in the future. But the skills, they each have 5 skills. Each of the attributes have 1 utility skill. That's a skill that is used for anything we can't come up with, okay? So instead of it necessarily, it basically it's a catch-all to cover anything that we didn't cover with the other skills, okay?
Okay.
So I'm gonna take a quick second. I'm gonna read out all the skills. Might take me a second, so everybody out there, bear with me. I don't know who likes this, but if you really like rules and rules management, man, did you come to the right place on episode 4. So here we go. 4 skills.
I like rules management.
I know you do. I know you do, Wiz. We basically have a podcast about it. Okay, so here we go. For the force skills. And remember, another thing I want to say before we get into the whole skill thing is that these skills do not have to be rolled with the stat that they're under. It is specifically under that stat to give you a perk out of that specific stat's perks if you get the 3, 4, 5. I can ask you to roll force stats with intelligence or agility or anything that you might need it at the time. It's just the skill itself is rooted in that stat, and therefore when you level it up, you will get perks based on that stat. The other big change that I want to talk about is that these skills, like before, they all go from 1 to 5. 1 being slightly proficient to 5 being the top 10% of people who do it. With this now, what I want to do is I want to change these almost to kind of a more of a role-playing aspect as well. So what you'll see is with the non-utility skills, like firearms, hand-to-hand, intimidation, art, those kind of skills, Your knowledge base is also related to how high the number is. So let's say you take art at a level 1. That means you're probably good at whatever your backstory in art makes sense for it. So let's say your character does painting. Your character's probably knowledgeable about painting. He or she can understand paints or paintings of that kind of style. They can do paintings. They can replicate paintings relatively well. However, they can't really get into sculptures or other sorts of art. Whereas then you increase your knowledge base. It actually increases to like at level 5, you can literally know all art and do all art, kind of. So that's kind of how it's going to work. The way that's going to translate into game is when you run into something that is relatively exotic to you, something that is not a thing that normally your character would deal with. So, example, Nullus Stonehand is really good with combustion weapons because he's on a Western planet the entire time. If he comes across a laser gun from the archipelago, I'm going to ask him for a knowledge roll, not a knowledge roll, an intelligence roll with firearms. If he succeeds the intelligence roll, he'll be able to use it and shoot it. He has some knowledge about it just because of his firearms. If he fails it, it's foreign to him. He might not even be able to use it. So that's kind of how we're going to do things here on out. And you'll see some of that in the examples as I read it. But I'm just going to go over it now. All right. 4 skills. Build. This skill is the utility skill for force. It represents the character's training and care taken to sculpt their own body. Kicking in a door, lifting an unnaturally heavy object, etc. This is what this skill is used for. So that's build. That's your utility skill. You kind of see what utility skills are. They're going to be kind of those standard catch-alls. Hand-to-hand. This is the character's ability and knowledge in hand-to-hand fighting skills. A skill of 1 means the character knows a specific style of fighting, while a 5 would be a complete understanding of most fighting styles, as well as a basic comprehension of hand-to-hand fighting itself. This skill is used mainly with unarmed attacks. Melee. This represents the character's understanding of close combat weapons, anything from knives and swords to a stick with a nail through it. A 1 would represent a proficiency with a certain type of weapon, while a 5 would be a complete understanding of how to fight and defend yourself with any melee weapon. Intimidation. This is the character's ability to physically appear imposing and to use that ability to frighten, scare, or even subdue a target into doing what they want them to do. Competition. This represents the character's ability and knowledge of sports, but it also covers climbing and swimming in a practical sense. So if you're trying to scale a wall, or if you're trying to swim for a really long time, or hold your breath for a really long time, it comes into the competition area. I'm going over all these because a lot of them are very all-encompassing for things that you might not necessarily immediately equate them to. So those are the 5 force. For agility, we have acrobatics. This is the utility skill for agility. It represents the character's training and dexterity and reflexes and things that require balance. Leaping a big gap, catching themselves before falling, or other baseline acrobatic feats use this skill. Ranged weapons. This represents the character's knowledge and ability with all manner aimed and projectile weapons that are not thrown. Those are technically melee weapons. So this doesn't count for like spears or like throwing a rock at somebody. But this does count for bows, arrows, crossbows, guns, machine guns, anything like that. Okay? We already kind of gave the description of the 1 through 5 earlier in my examples, so I'm just going to skip past that. Stealth. The character's skill at sneaking, hiding, and otherwise moving without being detected by targets or others. This skill is used whenever the character is attempting to move or hide without being detected, and the score represents their knowledge of that and the techniques used to do it. This is, however, separate from rogue skills. The reason being is stealth would be way too powerful with all rogue skills. Rogue, this skill represents all the skills of the rogues, thieves, and ne'er-do-wells of the world. This includes lockpicking, pickpocketing, sleight of hand, and any sort of physical trickery. It also represents the character's knowledge of these tricks and how to spot them. Culinary. The character's ability to cook and prepare food, as well as their knowledge of recipes and how to cut and prepare certain foods to be editable and even taste good. A character with 1 in this skill knows how to cook some basic local dishes, while a character at 5 is an expert chef and can figure out how to cook and prepare certain things they have never seen before. That's your agility skills. Endurance skills. Conditioning. This is the utility skill for endurance. This skill adds to the character's base endurance stat to give them their base soak. Anytime the character has to physically exert themselves for an extended period of time, this is the skill they would use. So it's like running, not getting tired. Survival. This is the character's ability to survive in the wild, cold, or other extreme situations. It represents the ability to build campfires, build rudimentary shelters, and track animals and people. A 1 in this means they know how to survive in a climate and area that is local to them, while a 5 in this means they can survive just about anywhere. Naturalist. Often hand in hand with survival, this is a character's knowledge of plants and other flora, their ability to discern their properties. A 1 means knowledgeable about the plants in the area that they grew up with, while a 5 means that they would be able to figure out exotic plants and flora with relative ease. Constitution. This is the character's skill at resisting certain physical ailments like poisons or disease. This is the skill the character would use to resist the effects of poison, drugs, or disease within reason. Resolve. This is the character's ability to deal with the mental stress and mental attacks. If the character is under a particular amount of stress, this is the skill the character would use to save against the negative effects of that. And should the character be attacked by some form of mental attack, this is the skill the player would use to save against it. Those are your endurance skills. Intelligence. Knowledge. This is the utility skill for intelligence. It represents the character's basic knowledge and understanding of most things. Mechanics. This is the character's mechanical ability, their skill at working with various machines or computers, how to work them or build them. A 1 in this skill means the character has a knowledge of certain type of machine or equipment, while a 5 means the character has the ability with all machines that allows them to understand, repair, and work on just about anything. Chemistry. This is the character's understanding of scientific elements and how they react with one another. This covers certain types of chemical creation as well as explosives and how to properly use them. It's a tricky one because chemistry is your explosive skill in this. Animal. This is your character's knowledge of fauna, as well as their ability to mend or treat their injuries, their habits and instincts, and whether or not they are dangerous. A 1 in this means a character is well versed in a certain type of animal, maybe how to train them or mend them. A 5 would mean that the character is a master trainer and a skilled veterinarian, even to exotic animals and creatures. This skill would also come into play for riding a horse or other mount. Medical. This character's knowledge of medicine, surgery, and first aid, as well as techniques to heal and treat illness. A character with a 1 has general knowledge of first aid, bandaging wounds, and simple burn treatment, while a 5 would mean they are a prolific doctor with the ability to treat and operate on just about anything. Perception skills. Awareness. This is the utility skill for perception. It represents the character's general awareness and observance of their surroundings, as well as their readiness. This skill can also be used to actively search for traps, hidden secrets, or other things. Now notice I put in actively there. That is something I want to point out. You guys already kind of know this about this system, but I'm going to lean a little bit more heavily into this. You only get momentum on a skill check that you initiate yourself, that you come up with. So attacks, of course, you get momentum on that, but you can get momentum by choosing to search for things and passing your check, choosing to talk to people. Obviously, I'm not going to let you game the system by just sitting there and going, I searched this room, I searched this room, I searched this room. But in a role-playing sense, I am never going to say, hey, roll an awareness for a trap situation. You're going to have to search, or when you set it off, it goes off, period. Navigation. This is the character's ability to not get lost, operate maps, and pilot vehicles. It's important. This allows the character to figure out where they are and find themselves in strange places. This also is their ability to drive or pilot ships aggressively. So that's your vehicle stat. It's an all-encompassing vehicle stat. Art. This is the character's ability to we talked about art in the example already. That's a perception skill. Craftsmanship. This is the character's ability to craft items. While similar to mechanical, this is not machinery, but instead woodwork, metalworking, and other things that are not specifically mechanical in nature. So, like, you want to build a deck. It's not going to be your mechanics. It's going to be your craftsmanship. Strategy. This represents the character's knowledge of tactics and strategy, both on and off the battlefield. The character can recognize complex battle strategies, as well as create their own, and if incredibly skilled, can even predict the moves based on that knowledge. Charisma skills, finally. Manipulation, this is your utility skill for charisma. This is the character's basic ability to influence people's opinions and actions through their own words or actions. This includes basic ability to lie, seducing, or conning a target. It can also inspire a target or convince them to do something they normally wouldn't. Merchant. This is the character's financial ability, their skill at appraising items and knowing their worth, as well as pricing things and market trends depending. The character with a 1 would understand a specific market, while a 5 is a character with an absolute perfect basic understanding of all financial transactions. Linguistics. This is a character's ability to speak other language, as well as understand or learn them. A character with this skill is more able to understand languages they have never heard before, as well as speak ones that are not their own. A character with a 1 can usually speak one other language fluently, while a 5 would have multiple languages in their repertoire. In addition, characters with this skill can always choose to make a skill roll when hearing a foreign language to attempt to get the gist of what is being said. Prolonged exposure and repeated attempts to understand the language through skill checks will eventually allow the character to learn that language fluently. Empathy. This skill is the character's ability to understand another person's emotions, whether they are sad, angry, or happy. It also allows the player to understand what the target of this skill wants to change their emotions. And then finally, performance. The character's training in performance, art, acting, music, and any type of art form that is performance-based. If the character is pretending to be someone else, this skill is used, as well as if this character wants to be good with certain types of musics or singing. Okay, so that's the entire skill list. I know that was a lot, but I wanted to go over them so that everybody knew what they were. The big thing I'm worried about is this could fuck you guys' perks up, because I think some stuff moved around, and I'm not sure if you guys were affected. I know that Aether's character was not directly affected, so I'm sorry about that. There's nothing really I can do. It's just a game in flux sort of situation. But basically,
playtesting for.
Right. Basically, what I want to do is I want to take what you have as your skills already and kind of translate them into this and figure out where best they fit.
Okay.
I had already moved mine around. It only changed a couple things on mine.
Okay. Did it mess with your perks at all?
No, not it. No.
Oh, that's amazing. That's phenomenal. So what are your skills now then, Philbilly?
Firearms, mechanics, animal, stealth, survival, hand-to-hand, spellcraft, and awareness.
Perfect. All right, so Wizard. Let's do you next then.
So, a couple questions, just double checking. So how many skills do I get? I know it's by the score, right? Between like force. So if I have a 3 in force, how many of these skills do I choose?
You don't. So the points that you've already put into your character
Gotcha.
have already been put in, because it's kind of, I think if I recall correctly, originally you get 5 at level 1, then you get 15 character points to put into your skills.
Right.
I prefer to try not to do that over again. So
Sure,
what
yeah.
I'd much rather do is try to just like move where we can.
Yeah.
What are your skills currently? Just your skills. Don't
Okay.
worry about your perks on here.
Right, okay. Conditioning blades, which is eliminated now.
So
Um,
blades, let's just turn blades into melee.
yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
makes sense. Um, and then
So he prefers a sword, but he's relative. He could use other melee weapons now, basically.
okay, well that kind of opens things up quite a bit for the character too, which also makes sense because um, he knows he's very good with a sword, so why not be very good with a hammer?
Well, and it's something I really wanted to do with this system for a while. It was just like I said, we ended up starting before I had it all the way worked out kink wise, but like I like the idea because if you're a guy who knows how to fight with a sword, you can also fight with an axe. You can also fight with a dagger. You can fight with a stick that kind of looks like a sword. You know what I mean? Like you know how to at least basically do it to some extent. And that's something that this system allows. It allows a little bit more flexibility. It also turns the skills a little bit more into role playing aspects as far as I'm concerned.
Mm,
Like I know swords, but only swords. So I only have a 1 in melee. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So
okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, and now actually I had a 2 because we did have XP and stuff
yeah.
over the last several games. I actually
Yes,
had a
we have.
2 in blades. So would I just go ahead and put a 2 in melee now?
Yeah, yeah. Let's just transfer it over if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pinnacle to my character. That's one I definitely wanted to keep.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like that's the best way. Is as much of that we can do will make our lives a lot easier.
okay, yeah, yeah. And a lot of these are actually going to be kind of easy as it is. Stealth was one of them.
Yeah, that's
Um,
still there.
yeah. Um, I think manipulation actually was one of them.
Yeah,
Um, let's see, awareness, which is still
still
there.
there. Still there.
Linguistics was one of them, which is still
I
there.
think the only one I'm kind of worried about is your pilot. You had a pilot skill, right?
Yeah, I did.
What was your level in pilot?
That was just gonna be a 1. Almost all of these are just 1.
Oh, that's great. Okay. I was very nervous because I know that pilot originally we had it as like an agility skill. And once I merged that with the navigation, it turned into a perception skill. And it would have altered your perk loadout.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with this whole system is the skills got moved around and bundled in weird ways. That if, let's say, you had a 3 in pilot, you would have had a perk from your agility that you couldn't have anymore because it would move to navigation and perception. So you'd have to flip flop perks around. You see what I'm saying
Yeah.
now? That
Yeah,
was
I
my
do.
that was my biggest concern on the whole. But if all any ones, okay, if any ones can just translate over unless they're a skill that you don't know what they would translate into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're pretty straightforward. Like pilot was obviously already in
So just switch that to
navigation.
navigation. Yeah,
Yeah. And then thief,
that's
which
gonna
I'm
be rogue.
guessing rogue now.
Yeah.
Um okay, that's pretty simple actually.
I was
That's
hoping
it.
so. Brian had an okay time with it too.
Yeah.
With it too.
Um Now
Oh,
out of all of those skills that we just went over, did any of them flip-flop in any sort of weird way where I mean like pilot moved over to
yeah,
perception, right?
yeah.
Um, Stealth was still agility, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the thief skills and rogue skills were both agility. I don't think anything switched. What? Yeah, I don't think anything switched in a meaningful way for you. That's going to impact that.
Conditioning was endurance, right?
Yeah.
That was the only. I think that's the only endurance-based skill I had. But I only have a 2 in endurance.
You only have a 2 in endurance?
Yeah.
Okay, so do I.
Yeah, that's fine.
It just means you don't have a perk from it. Because you don't get a perk till you get a 3 in something.
Okay.
Yeah, you get perks. So you get perks at 3s, 4s, and 5s in stats and skills. That's why the skills are kind of cordoned off. So like like I said, my concern were you had a 3 in a skill that got moved from agility to force. Then we would be in trouble because then you would have a perk from force that you couldn't have anymore. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I got it.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I did get messed up because my firearms perk is no longer an agility perk, right? It's an intelligence perk.
No, firearms remained in agility.
Oh, okay.
And but it's not firearms anymore. It's ranged weapons.
Oh, okay. But that's still agility.
It's still agility, but it means you can shoot a bow now. Or, well, you could attempt to shoot a bow with a knowledge check, because I don't think you've done a lot of bow shooting in your life.
Yeah.
And your skill isn't quite like, it's not 5 yet where you're like
right
from.
Well, even with a 5, so the way it's going to work, like, you come across something that you haven't come across in the game and your backstory does not warrant you having any previous knowledge of, I'm going to make you do an intelligence and that skill roll at a certain level of difficulty, depending on how exotic it is, you know? So, like, example, let's say you guys go on that exploration mission, you fly 2 galaxies away, and you meet another sentient life form, another sentient species, and they have firearms. Phil goes to try and shoot one of their firearms, okay? I'm going to ask him for that intelligence firearms check. And then how good he does on that roll is going to tell me how well he can use that firearms just from his experience with firearms. So if you have a 5 in firearms, you're adding 5 to the roll right off the bat. So you're probably going to be able to understand it, but you could still definitely fail it and not know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, you could roll a 2 and...
So, like, in this case, Phil has, what did you say? It was like a 3 in ranged weapons?
3. Yeah.
He's got a 3 in ranged weapons, right? So, but we all know that has been primarily...
firearms on
right
planet.
Primarily firearms from Genesis. So if he were to come across a bow and arrow, I would make him make that roll. And if he does not get it, he can't shoot a bow and arrow. It's just like, what the fuck do I do with the string? You know what I mean? Like, he's lost. But if he gets it, he goes, bow and arrow. I pull it, I shoot it, done. So that's how it's going to work. Whereas if he was on Genesis and he comes across a different pistol from Genesis, I'm not going to make him make that roll. Because it's warranted that he would have experience with whatever that firearm is. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your skills are not just your ability to do a thing anymore. They're your circle of knowledge and how well you're knowledgeable about a thing. Your ability to adapt to the situation in that specific area.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, and mine aren't getting too bad. I need to start tucking some XP into some of my skills.
I just did a big spend.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's kind of like it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
it is. You don't know what Zach's gonna throw at you next, so you don't
Well,
know how to like stack up.
And my game does cut off at a certain point, so like you can't possibly build your character to full, ever.
That's true.
Yeah, because you go from traveler phase to I forget what the other one was called.
It's
Veteran, maybe?
Can't remember. I can't remember. But yeah, there's
Something
two
along
different
those lines.
phases. Yeah, there's two different phases. Basically, I mean, since we're talking about skills, Brian's not here. It is going to reduce the amount of content I can do with you guys, but I have some stuff I definitely want to roleplay with you. We can go over it just slightly. So, with experience, let me just run to it. Character advancement. So basically there's two phases, okay? Two phases. The first phase ends at 225 experience points in total. So including the initial 15. So like you don't have to worry about the initial 15, but 225 experience points. When you've spent 225 experience points, that's the traveler phase. You then enter what's called the master phase, because anybody who's ever played with me knows I absolutely hate experience points in role-playing games, because eventually you get to this point where your character is like, I can't play this or be fun. Like, I shoot somebody and ships explode. So so basically to kind of combat that with single mod, at 225 experience points, you're done. Your character's stats are what they are, but there's still a reason to play, because you still gain experience points. And in the master phase, you can buy temporary perks and temporary skill and stat levels that you don't normally have, but you buy them at the beginning of every session. So like at the beginning of the session, be like, well, I have 10 experience points from last time, or whatever saved up for this specific session. I'm gonna buy this additional perk. I'm gonna buy this additional stat point, and then that's with you for the entire session. And then it goes away at the end of the session unless you rebuy it with experience points you earn. So you almost can build yourself to the situation you're in once you hit to the master phase. But you can never be like that god sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. That also helps with, like, I would imagine being a DM or GM.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Like, okay, all my characters went into this room. I didn't expect them to go into. They're kind of screwed. Next session, somebody takes a bit of a perk to help them get out of that room.
Well, and there's something that I've always hated about I've always hated advancement about game mastering from a standpoint of, number one, and I promise everybody out there who's watching this, we are going to play. We're getting through this a little bit, but we've never really talked about the system. I realized that we just started playing. Like nobody knows anything about this system other than us. The one thing that I really disliked as a game master is, number one, most games take forever to level up. So like and that's how they combat the problem, right? Like, it's going to take sessions and sessions and sessions and sessions to get your character up to that level 20 that makes them nearly unplayable sort of situation, you know? So like especially since most of the experience point systems, they go up every time you level up too. Like, the amount you need keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher.
Right.
It takes longer and longer and longer to level up. I hate that, because I like it when somebody is done playing a game, they feel immediately rewarded, you know?
Yeah, like they advanced.
Yeah. Like, I want the end of every session you to be able to put a point in something, or save it if you want to, but I want you to feel like you could do something with your character right then and there. But when you do that, you get these... One of my previous games that will never see the light of day had this problem with, by the 7th level, you were just destroying everything, and you earned 7th level by, like, the 3rd session. And then, like, it was like, your build was just destructive. So, with this, it gets you to a point where, like, you're always getting something. You don't have to worry about over-giving experience points to your players, because they're going to hit that cap, and then they're going to be able to play with their build every session. So you never have to really worry about giving them too much or too little experience points, because you've got this place where it's going to hit, and then they're still going to be able to play with stuff, but that's going to be that, and then everybody's going to be on that equal footing.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a really good idea.
It's the
Yeah,
thought.
plus it eliminates that whole, like, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, like, D&D has the problem of, like, people, once they get above level 15, have trouble running campaigns because everybody's a god, and
The most
that's why,
common
like,
campaign Max
Don't
out at
most
12.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 13 feels like it's the cap, even though 20 is the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I hate that stuff. I always want my players to feel like they're getting something, but I never want to hit that status where like you're
You're a
Goku.
god.
Yeah, you're Goku destroying the planet, every time you throw a punch.
And as a player, I like tinkering, and this allows me to max out and still tinker.
Yeah,
I
I'm the same way.
Side note, this system directly is for Philbilly up there. I don't know if Philbilly has realized it, but the whole master system, like Philbilly started on my channel as gaming wise. Why I call him the Build Master General is he only ever like played like 2 games, and they were like Borderlands and Borderlands 2, and he would make these builds that were like unholy rain down death sort of builds, and we got tons of views.
Yeah, it was like you were saying, tinkering. I'm good at figuring out, oh, this skill correlates with this skill, and it's multiplicative, so you put these together, like I could figure out how to break things.
Yeah, I specifically designed the master system because I'm like, Philbilly is gonna get to literally make a build every time he goes into the game.
Yeah, no, that's real cool. That's really cool because that's what I like too. I like building, and I never get stagnated with my building on this system.
Yeah.
So
That's
cool.
the idea behind it anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and start playing a little bit. I think is a good idea.
Right.
I don't know what you guys think, but gonna probably be role play heavy today, so just keep that in mind. But all right, so where did we leave off? Well, Jared Abrego had met the Neds, which I listened back, and I apparently named both those Cook Ned, so gonna stick with that. With the Neds about to enter Hangar 13, with the medical officer Kelly as well, and everybody's fan favorite Carl Vargas was already dead, much to everybody's despair. However, you guys had destroyed the hub. Alfred had done his anime downward stab thing, while Nullis came charging in the front door, casting spells out of his nose, and with an improvised server bank in front of him. And the confusion was able to take out the HUD. You guys were able to liberate the bridge of the Risen before the Knicks could really implement some terrible shit.
Zix.
Thank you, Zix. It's sad when you can't even say your own shit right, man. It's fucking
It sounds
sad.
like a previous draft rearing its head.
Yeah, right?
I was bullied by a group of thugs, all named Nick.
All right, so you guys have liberated this bridge. You stopped it. They locked down the doors. There's kind of a calm after it. Nullis, you're going to kind of step away, kind of sit down for a second because you're still dealing with the aftermath of that vision that you had.
Yeah, I want to. Plus, I'm like fucked up from using all that magic, so
Yeah.
like I'm hurting a little, and yeah, I'd be just struggling mentally right now.
I'm actually going to go ahead and use that skill system to start our game off with our first roll, and I am going to make you make a resolve roll. So it'll be the endurance resolve stat, and it will be with your endurance skill. And we're going to put that at a difficulty of 10 because you're pretty fucking flustered right now. Like, you're a hard ass, so it'll be 10, but not 15.
I rolled a 1, so I'm not doing good.
All right, okay. So you're really freaking out. What was that? Why was that weird fiery orc in your head? In that weird bar, it felt real. It felt like more than just stress and shock. Plus, while you have been learning about the blood magic and the Axiom spellcraft and all that with Thaddeus, you really haven't pushed yourself to the limit you have in the last 24 hours, basically. So you kind of sit down and you're very stressed out.
Yeah, I figured I we were in that gunfight and I stopped to reload and I kind of just crouched down next to the server bank, and as the chaos was ending, I'm just kind of frozen, in bloodied and frozen, thinking what is wrong with me and what's going on.
You actually hear a voice in your head when you say, "What is wrong with me?" Nothing's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with you. You're learning. And as you hear that voice, because you were crouched down, frozen to reload, it makes you kind of, because you're all stressed out, drop a clip. And actually some of the bullets, tangle, tinkle tangle.
Tinkle tangle?
I don't know what. Just, scatter noisily across the metal floor. There's the writer. There's the writer. Tinkle tangle, delete, delete, delete. Bingle bangle, delete, 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 delete. Theosaurus, help me out here. So they kind of scatter across the metal floor, making some noise. Thaddeus kind of catches your eye. And walks over to you, even though he's actually technically in charge of the Risen right now, because you guys are on the bridge, and I think him and Alfred are. I think he's slightly higher than you.
It was one rank higher.
Yeah, so he'd actually technically be the ranking officer on the bridge, so he's not going to be able to take much time. But he comes over to you, touches his hand to your shoulder, and goes, "Dear boy, are you all right?"
I kind of flinch, and I don't know, Thaddeus. I don't know if I'm all right or not. When things calm down, I'd like to get your opinion on some things. I saw somebody today, and it was very disconcerting. It felt real, but I was here.
Give me an empathy check with charisma, and I want you to, and it's going to be difficult specifically because you're still kind of mentally broken, so 15 or higher.
I actually roll a 14 plus 3, so 17.
Something washes across his face when you say there was somebody and it was like you were somewhere else. Like a fear. But it's weird because it's kind of like a knowing fear. Like almost like a recognition of whatever you might be going through. And that kind of bothers you a little bit. And sure enough, the voice in your head goes, "He's hiding something."
I'm just like, shut up. What is it, Catch?
Do you say "shut up" out loud?
Yeah.
Thaddeus kind of looks at you weird for a second, then looks away, and he goes, "Yeah, come over here and sit down." He kind of leads you over to a bench and has you sit down. It's like, take a couple of deep breaths. You have truly, truly pushed yourself to your limits today, me boy. It will not be easy to come back from that. Just take a couple of moments and collect yourself. I'm sure we can talk later.
Yeah, we'll have to have that talk.
You hear that voice again. Yeah, we'll have that talk. Once he's got his story straight. If you would like to get this voice to shut up, I need you to give me another resolve roll with, this time we're going to go with force.
What's the difficulty?
You're getting a little sick of them, so we're going to say 10.
Nope. 8. I scream, shut up.
Like, Thaddeus isn't taken back by you screaming "shut up" at him. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to help you through it." He's taken back that you yelled "shut up" at him. He specifically thinks you're talking to him.
Uh, I'm like, no, just deal with the ship.
It's like, all right, just collect yourself. I'll be back. I'll be back. And then he walks away, kind of looking back over his shoulder at you.
I figure I'm like kind of clutching, my
Yeah,
head.
the voice starts in again. Like, did you see that look back over his shoulder? Now you know he's hiding something. He's hiding something from you, my boy. My boy. At that point, while you're trying to conquer your inner demons, we're gonna go over to Alfred Whitecastle, who you like. People start talking to you the minute Thaddeus walks away from you, and everybody else. Hobbs specifically, he kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, we're doing a status report. It looks like we're starting to get things locked down. Now that we've got the bridge, we can resume communications with the rest of the ship."
What is the status of our forces? How many people do we still have active?
We've got a good number active. They were scattered and in different terrible situations because of the nature of this attack. Plus, I'll be honest with you, sir, most people on this ship are untrained. It's a launching point. We're either in the process of being trained or complete rookies. However, good news is we're starting to retake it now that we're coordinating communications. And he's already set people up on the different like terminals, talking to people, trying to help them through situations. He's like, the other thing is too, you guys taking out that hub. Ooh, that was the kicker. Those Zix are still on their heels from whatever backlash they got from that. Looks like we should be able to do this.
That's good to hear. And the pirates, did they all evacuate? Are their ships still in range?
The ships, most of them evacuated. However, we definitely have some stragglers on board. I'm getting some reports. Let me collect them, and maybe we can figure out what the next move is. Thaddeus walks over at this point. He's visibly rattled from whatever was going on between him and Nellis over in the corner. He goes, status report.
Convey to him what was just conveyed to me by
Hobbs.
what was his name? Hobbs, thank you.
He goes, oh, that's good. That's good. He looks back over at Nullis, who you now look over at Nullis and see Nullis is just head in his hands, like looks like he's like, it's a very strange situation because Nullis looks like at least when you were watching him fight, a battle-hardened warrior, and he looks like a rookie who had his first gunfight. Like, that's what he looks like in the corner.
I'd go to Thaddeus and just ask, like, so how is the nosebleed wizard?
He hasn't had a lot of experience using his abilities before. I have to think that this is a side effect of overexertion. I have been working for him some time, but on Genesis, he tended to avoid that overall, or when it came out, it was more of a natural occurring thing from anger or high stress. But I've been trying to teach him how to use it a little bit better, but as you can see, my magic is very different. I can't help but wonder if maybe I'm suddenly out of my element. Give me... Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just thinking.
Give me an empathy roll with charisma. Difficulty's 15.
Now, I don't have empathy as a skill, so I just
That's fine.
Straight charisma, right?
Yeah, you just do straight charisma. There's no penalty for not having a skill.
Okay. So that's gonna be a 12.
Ooh, okay. All right. Something seemed a little off about the way he talked, but he looked stressed.
I will go talk to him.
He looks at you. He goes, "Really? Let me give you a word of advice before you do. Nellis is a hard man, and he respects those that respect him. Try to keep that in mind."
I appreciate that. And I walk over to sitting on the. I'm assuming he's still sitting head down, kind of in a tough spot.
Yeah. Before you get over there, Nellis, give me one more resolve / force roll. This time, difficulty's a 5.
Holy crap, I passed.
Yay! Okay, finally the voice subsides in your head. Your heart stops pounding as much. You don't feel yourself perspiring as much. You're able to get a little bit calmer. And just as that happens, Mr. Whitecastle steps in just in front of you.
I think as he approached, I would like look up, trying to wipe the blood off my face with my shirt or whatever, and be like, "There's a nice shot in there."
Nice shot. Nice shooting for you. I took the shot at the hub, and it worked out. But if you hadn't come in when you did, the Knicks would have swarmed me. Your powers are strange and kind of gross with the blood, but they saved my life. I would appreciate your company on my expedition.
Yeah, you still think that expedition is going down as planned with all this?
Planned or otherwise, that expedition will continue.
I gotta ask, man, what's so important about this expedition?
We have been locked in this solar system for some time. It's important that our cultures expand outward before we become smothered by each other's presence. The 3 worlds need more space.
Trust me, White Castle, I'm a big fan of space myself, but I ain't the smartest man, but I do have a concern about all this. We run to find this new solar system that you speak of at a time where we just saw what happens with these Zix, and when they kill somebody and they just turn them into those monsters. My concern is let's say we go and we find what it is that you are mysteriously looking for elsewhere out there. What is there to come back to if this problem isn't resolved? I mean, this was just one ship. Don't we kind of need to know what just happened?
I understand your concern. But let me pose it to you this way. A ship like this size, has never been attacked in this manner, not in since the wars. And for there to be pirates, raiders like this, right before we leave on this expedition, I do not believe that is a coincidence.
So you think that your mission is somehow tied to whatever the fuck just happened here?
I think that that is a very high probability and possibility. And if that is the case, I will do my part to uncover what it is this expedition is threatening them with. And I'll bring it back. And I will make sure they pay.
Okay, fair enough. I understand that you're my superior, but I gotta ask, what the hell's in it for you? You seem very headstrong on this mission. And I know I may not have the clearance, but man to man, as two people who just saved this ship and each other in one way or the other, I gotta ask that you share some honesty with me. What's in it for you? This can't just be a money thing for you. There's got to be more in it, that you are so headstrong on continuing this expedition.
You guys immediately hear Thaddeus call you guys over. Nullis, Alfred, if you guys don't mind.
We will continue this conversation soon.
Fair enough.
Go over.
You guys both walk over, and he goes, "We have a couple of situations that are going to need personal attention on the ship."
What's happening?
Well, the most specific one that, if you don't mind, I'd like the two of you to handle. Nullis, if you're okay to handle it, of course.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
He goes, apparently one of the raider ships, was carrying ravenous wild animals that the Northlanders literally carry with them and train, attack creatures. While we're dealing just fine with the Nyx, these attack creatures are playing havoc on some of the lower decks. Nullis, I know you have skills coming from the ranch that might be able to attend to this, and Alfred, obviously, the two of you are the most skilled combatants.
This has to be taken care of. What decks are they on?
He points out there's like a pack of creatures on deck. Deck 6. It's a huge ship. I could just throw out numbers.
I guess what I'm going to try to figure out is more or less what's in that area, just to have an idea of what kind of environment we're walking into.
Sure. I'm going to have you give a navigation roll, even though you can ask them, just for the chance to get a momentum, because this is you're doing an aggressive thing, basically. So I want to give you the option. Okay. I'll give you a 10 roll on that, and it would be navigation plus your intelligence.
Navigation plus my intelligence,
yes.
So that's going to be like a 16.
Oh, perfect. So take a momentum, since it came from you. And then basically you realize that there's actually a wildlife atrium section of the Risen for outdoors training that they just have. It's like would that be an atrium? Yeah, like a lot of plants and stuff on the ship, like basically to imitate a jungle or green scenario. They have it's about the size of 2 football fields, like 200 yards, just this big open training area. But it has a lot of trees. There's a lot of things tied to it, like ropes and other stuff for climbing and whatnot. Just different things to simulate to make it able to do training exercise in a more practical sense.
Okay.
The animals have taken home there and have decided to claim that wilderness for their own. They know that they know that they're animals, but they haven't been able to get any actual footage of what the animals are. They've just gotten reports of the animal attacks, and all of them kind of emanating from that area.
This would be
Hobbs
a-
basically is like, we should be able to get like video research, or video recordings of them eventually, but right now there's just so much going on, we haven't figured out how to. Because they didn't come from the atrium, but...
Okay. They will be in an environment comfortable to themselves as animals. We should proceed cautiously.
Yeah, we always take cautious with the beasts, but I'm pretty familiar with a lot of them if they're native to Genesis at least.
Do you think you could track them there?
I do think I'd be pretty capable. What I would like to know, and I look at Hobbs, I'm like, hey, you got any medics before we head out that maybe could, I don't know, pain meds or something, help me out here?
He's like, hold on a sec, and he finds a medical guy who comes over with some meds. What's your health down to?
It's at 22 at the moment.
22 at the moment. All right. What's your health normally?
33.
All right. I'm just gonna make a flat roll. We'll do 2 for each difficulty level. Oh, that's pretty good. So gain 6 health points back. They just do some light. They give you some pain meds. They wipe your nose, that sort of thing.
All right. Cool.
Hold on.
Good deal.
I'm trying to find a good. I think this is a good one. All right. Let me. Oh my God! I don't care about Pinterest. Just trying to download the frickin' image, man. All right.
Don't let my wife hear that.
It's not that I have anything against it. It pops up Pinterest when I'm trying to download an image off a Google image search.
I have something against it. Anytime I do home projects, everything becomes elaborate because of fucking Pinterest.
It possesses the thing. I have problems with Pinterest meals that get sent to me because I do all the cooking in my house. So Melissa will just be like, she'll see something and send it to me, and I'll be like, this takes like 4 hours and 37 steps. Do you think I'm Gordon Ramsay? Like, if it's not a crock pot or a frying pan or a grill, I can't really do it. Okay, so yeah. So you guys start to make your way towards the atrium?
Yeah.
They've gotten the... Sorry,
It's just me and White Castle, right?
Just you and White Castle, unless you're going to ask for somebody else to go with you. But asking somebody to go with you would take personnel away from basically getting the ship right. So
I think Nullis would be somewhat confident that
you two can handle it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys head over to the lifts, and it is a quick jaunt on the lift down to the atrium. The atrium is it slowly slides open, and it's only about 2 stories tall, so it's not actually that big. And you can tell that there's a lot of kind of crazy lighting on the top that they use in conjunction with magic to basically simulate light, like sunlight and whatnot, to get these plants to grow. This is the most unnatural natural setting you've ever seen, and it's very strange because once the elevator opens, it's like you guys step foot out into a jungle surrounded by metal. The jungle itself has all sorts of kind of like winding trees. The trees are kind of weird too because it's different kind of almost biomes in the 200 yards. Like you'll have 10 feet of like oak trees and birch trees, and then you'll walk out of that into like a rainforest type area. So it's a lot of different settings of plants, basically to simulate just crazy wild stuff. Now, Phil, you've actually had some experience in this room because you were just about completing basic training. And Alfred, of course, you probably have some experience with it, given your previous history. But yeah, at that point, you guys step out into the forest. And you guys can hear definite animal noises. Specifically, you hear kind of like these cat kind of growling noises, and then you hear like hissing, almost shrieky noises, almost like there's a fight going on in here somewhere.
Like the shrieking noises, does that also sound animal, or does it sound like a person shrieking?
It doesn't sound like there's any people in here, and you guys received the status update that there were no people. Like, they had locked down the atrium because of this situation.
I think when we step through the doors, I would probably look back at White Castle and, like, you know, finger to the mouth, and I would like to try to put myself into a stealthy.
Okay. All right.
Like, kind of basically, you might want to make the roll too, saying like we should sneak. Yeah.
I was just about to stealth as well.
Go ahead, both of you go into stealth. Don't roll anything, though, because you're not sneaking against anything yet. Nothing is aware of your presence to actually sneak. There's no reason for you to actually be in stealth mode yet. I mean, there is. I'm going to say... Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say you're holding the stealth action until such time as it is required.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So you're in stealth, but I'm not going to make you roll for that stealth until you would have to.
Okay.
Because you still can't see what's going on.
I do want to start looking around for tracks or broken, like, sticks, unnaturally broken sticks and stuff to see if I can get a sense as to direction the whatever's in here came from and where it was headed.
All right, so this is tracking. That would be survival. Do you have survival skill?
Yeah.
Hit that up. We're going to say it with perception in this condition, in this case. And we're going to put the difficulty... the difficulty is going to be actually low. It's going to be a 10.
Okay. 19.
Okay. Take a momentum. Basically, you are able to track. You can find 2 sets of tracks, though. Well, you got a 19. That's pretty good. So there are 4 creatures in here leaving tracks, from what you can tell. One of them has large cat-like paws, and we're going to go ahead and make that special knowledge check real quick. Give me animal and intelligence to see, because this would be a foreign animal to your experience, to see if you have that knowledge base. I'm going to actually put this as a 15, because like I said, this would be a pretty foreign animal to you.
I rolled a 15 plus 4, so 19.
Huzzah, motherfucker. Okay, so you've never met one of these creatures before, but you're pretty sure it is a saber cat, which is basically like a saber-tooth tiger. Axiom has them in the Northlands. They're very prevalent, so that would make sense that they would come in on barbarian ships, basically. They are large creatures, like tiger-sized creatures with huge kind of like saber teeth, basically. Scary-ass monsters. There seems to be like a pack of 3 of them, but there is another set of tracks. This set of tracks you are much more familiar with. It looks to be a... Fortunately, I can't put it in the chat. I can't put it in here for you guys out there watching, but I'm going to send a picture to Philbilly for right now. I can't do that because it will become invisible. No, I can. I know how I can. And then at some point later, I will find a way to put the pictures in here on the fly. But messenger. They call it a great spike back.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And then I will send that to Ash as well so he can see it.
Goddamn Velociraptor.
Mm-hmm. With like spikies all over it.
That's pretty sweet.
I wonder if I can... I don't think I can... No, I can't put pictures in the chat, unfortunately. So I have to figure out a way to add it to chat, guys. But it is a spiky velociraptor, so to speak. Actually, yeah.
What do I know about that?
The spike back or
Yeah.
the saber cats?
Well, I'm guessing I would know more about the spikeback, being that they're native to my planet, right?
Yes. Spikebacks hunt actually on Genesis they are alone usually. They're very nomadic solo creatures, unlike the velociraptors here on Earth. They have been known to attach themselves to people every once in a while, but them as pets is rare because usually it requires some sort of like extreme bout of trust between the two of them. But spikebacks are meat eaters. They're carnivorous. They're hunters. They are trainable, but they're really hard to tame. You've heard of some ways to do it, but you're not exactly sure. Saber cats you definitely know less of. You didn't even really know they hunted in packs. You're aware of them, though. You know that they're big. They're hyper aggressive when it comes to territory. And they're even more aggressive when they're taking out of that territory. So those things are just basically berserk right now, killing anything that they see.
All right.
It's going to be pretty hard to tame or calm them.
I would look at a White Castle and be like, "Hey, we got ourselves 3 pack predators, large felines, and a spikeback." I don't know if you know what that is exactly, but it's a predator. They usually hunt alone, and kind of relay, what I know to you.
Okay.
You're also not exactly sure how the spikeback got on the ship comparatively, because the Dead Seas...
He wouldn't have come from...
Right.
Yeah.
So, this may shock you, but I don't know anything about animals. I'm a pilot. I fly in space.
Fair enough. I don't know jack shit about that, so
Aww.
you complete me.
Full stop on the episode. That's the best. That's the money line right there. It doesn't get
I
much
would
better.
say that like and smirk and wink.
You complete me.
White Castle would be completely just like doesn't even understand what you just said and just like just takes it on the cuff.
That's priceless. That's priceless. All right. Okay. You guys hear some more shrieking and some more snarling from the forest. You can kind of tell that it seems like they're fighting each other. Or aggressively, like, something's going on here. You can also tell it from the tracks. And a little bit of blood splatter here and there.
Right.
Which one is worse?
I mean, they're all dangerous creatures, but I would worry more about the pack animals, seeing as how they have the numbers.
Then stealth behind them and take them down. Is this
That
the
would be
strategy?
ideal. Yeah. See,
Alright.
it sounds like they're making it easier on us as far as from the noises being made. They may have already met each other, so call that a blessing or a curse. But I think we'll be able to find all of at least what I can see of these tracks.
Um, I'll go if you think that we can find them easy enough. I'll go on ahead. My weapon is a blade. I need to get close, and then once I attack, you just unleash with your guns.
Or the I would be like, well, to be fair, these are all ground predators. We could always try to use the trees.
Get above
Like,
them.
yeah.
And there was a lot
Not
of
saying you'd have to jump from 40 feet, but, it might be.
Well, I've done it once today.
You fell with great style.
As I said, I was a pilot. I'm a pilot. There's like ropes and stuff like that, and like this is
Yeah.
already kind of set up to be like a gymnasium-ish kind of
Yeah.
jungle environment.
Yeah.
Um,
I would
Alright.
not make you guys make a competition check to get up into the trees, but I am going to say that you're going to have to make a competition check to use stealth in the trees.
Okay.
Because you will have to climb from tree to tree to tree while also being quiet. So I would make you make both, just to let you guys know.
I would look at you and be like, are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I believe I can make that work. Is it possible? You said competition check?
Be competition with force.
Competition was just that skill that was like climbing and
Oh,
Sports,
Okay.
but it's also climbing and swimming. You guys are
But it-
finding ways to use all the skills that I had.
yeah.
Like all the skills we've never used before. You guys are like, let's use those today.
Oh, and that's not one I have. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, give me force competition checks. Difficulty is 10. You need to pass to be able to stealth through the trees.
Okay. I actually rolled well, so
I rolled a 17, so I got that one.
Both of you take a momentum since it was something you guys came up with. You guys were the initiators on that one. All right, and now go ahead and roll stealth.
What's our difficulty on that?
Okay. I'm going to actually say it would be difficult because you're in the trees. And they are very aware creatures. So we're going to say 14 with their awareness.
All right.
I'm going to use one of those momentums and re-roll.
Okay, it's 2 momentum to reroll.
2 momentums. Worth it. I rolled
Oh,
one.
nice. I rolled an 18.
Nice.
Can I do that again?
Can you spend 2 more momentums to reroll your stealth again?
Yes.
Technically.
I'm doing it. I rolled a 1 and then a 2. Putting this to the side and getting a 20.
It could end up being an interesting thing.
Jesus. Alright, so I finally rolled decent. Let's see, stealth was 1, and then that was agility, right? Or so
Force.
Force.
it was force. Okay.
Or
No,
wait,
no, no,
stealth
for
is
stealth it's
I'm
agility. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, same
Okay.
here. I was still thinking of the climbing
Yeah, the
check.
tree thing.
So I got a 17.
Okay, all right. So you you wobble a little bit, catch yourself, go to the next tree, go through another trees. Something, I don't know, something is making you feel a little ill, maybe a little woozy, maybe I don't know, something. that you're not used to regularly. But you almost fall again. You kind of catch yourself. Maybe you just haven't eaten in a while. Stomach is hurting a little bit. Whereas Nellis is just like nimbly pimbly hopping from treetop to treetop without any problems whatsoever. You guys manage to kind of go through a rainforest part. Then you end up in another kind of like heavily forested, like almost like English country style sort of trees, like pines and whatnot. And then you see down below you the 3 saber cats. They have flanked the spikeback. Spikeback's pretty cut up. He's growling. A spikeback is not a small creature. It's a little bit shorter than like Nullus, basically. It's probably the size of Alfred. Very thin, meaty body. And it looks very much like a velociraptor, with the exception of the fact that all along its kind of head and down its back are these large 1-inch to 3-inch spikes that kind of bristle and go up and down with how it's raging and moving. So it kind of like slithers and clicks, and you see kind of the little spikes click back and forth. This spikeback is specifically different. It has an X carved into its face over its left eye, and that left eye is gone. You can tell, however, that scar is old. That has nothing to do with the saber cats who have wounded it a couple of times. It's taken some chunks out of the saber cats, who a couple of them are bleeding. The one to the right is actually limping, has a lot of blood coming from the arm, but you can tell that they are just berserked. They're incensed, and this is a terrorist tactic that the Dead Seas and other raiders from the barbarian lands use. Is the saber cats are incredibly berserker once they're taken out of their terrain, so they lure them onto ships and then they send them into other ships and let them kill everybody. So these things are not going to go down without a fight, and they are very upset, but they do not see either of you. However, they are locked on to the spikeback.
And we're like sort of crouched right next to each other.
You guys are, next to each other, 2 trees side by side. You could easily whisper to each other without letting them know. And you are kind of like right above, like you would be able to do like a jump from the tree and make a melee attack if you wanted on them. Like you are stealth range from them, while Nullus can take shots if he wants.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean over to Nellis, and it's a good time to attack.
Have at it.
I
Just
don't.
remember. Okay.
Don't know anything about animals, but I know how to kill things. I jump for a stealth attack.
All right. You make a stealth roll. Nullus, you making a stealth attack too?
Yeah, but I'm going to enter Blood Rage for the first time.
Ooh, what does that do again?
So it's
Says
like
the
you
guy
take
who
a
created the system.
D4. You take a D4. It's the orcs thing, and like, so the first round I have a +1 to everything. Second round +2, all the way up to 4, and then on the 5th round you have a -4, then a -3, then a -2, then a -1.
Okay.
So it's like it helps you and then it hurts you.
It's like it's a
come down.
berserk. It's like a slow up berserk to a crescendo where you then get really tired and exhausted.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you enter Blood Rage. So you had a +1 for this round as well, right? Is that +1 for everything, like universally, or just damage?
No. For damage and defense.
For force, right? Oh.
Force and your agility.
Oh, okay. All right. Force and agility. All right. Okay, so we're going to do Alfred's roll first. Remember, they don't get a defense roll, so just how good you roll is how much damage you do. So so like I said, the far one away from you guys is the one that's limpy with a lot of blood coming out of its arm. The one in the center is the biggest one. He seems to be the pack leader. And then the one to the right is the one you guys are closest to.
Okay. So we're attacking the one on the right then.
Well, okay.
Whatever one you jump at, I'll probably shoot at the next closest one to you because I'm not going to shoot at you, obviously.
Okay.
Good call.
Well,
Good call.
I mean, if they're all within range, I'm probably aiming for the pack leader. See if I can't bring them down.
Yeah, okay. It's a big jump, but I'd let you do it. Yeah.
Okay,
Go for it.
If he's within range, that's the one I would go for.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Pack leader it is.
And I actually rolled a nat 20.
Wow! Nice. All right, so
he's gonna take out the hub like that and the pack.
Yeah, I know. That's his thing, is just jumping down onto things with his blade out. Like, I make one attack. If I miss, it's over.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so
I did
20. So you did 20 plus what's your sword?
It's gonna be, I put a 2 in there, so, and it's 4, so 5 plus 5 is 25.
25 damage to it?
Yeah.
So the death check. They are large creatures, so the threshold is higher, would be a 12. So 12 minus 25 is going to be 13. 13. Wait, did I do that right? Yeah, 13. So he has to beat a 13 to not die. Gets a 4. All right, so you come out of the tree, just whoom, blade right through the side of this thing's temple. Just shing! It like cocks to the side and like drops. Just perfect shot. Are you taking out the right one or the left one, Nellis?
The
right one is the
closer
wounded.
to him than the other.
Nah, he's kind of dead center in the middle of them.
Actually, you know what? I'll spend a momentum and do one on each of them.
Nice. Spend that momentum, boys. Spend it.
So, first, my stealth roll, because I'm assuming only the first will be stealth, right?
Yeah, only the first is the stealth attack.
The stealth roll was a 19 plus 6, so 25.
Okay, you did add in the ranged negative and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I have a cheat sheet, so it's
perfect.
all figured out.
Perfect. So it's 25 damage as well?
Yeah.
All right, same thing. It's got to beat a 13. Does not. All right, so you just... all right, next shot at the other one. The other one turns. This is the wounded one already. You guys have already taken out 2 with these stealth attacks.
Dude, I just crit a 20.
Well, there's no crit in this, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it'll be 26 on this one. But he gets a defense.
Yes, which is what I'm rolling right now. He rolls a 12 plus 5 is going to be 17. So you rolled how much total?
26, so I'm 9 above plus my 4 sharp damage.
Okay. All right. Sharp is threshold damage.
Yeah.
So that will be 4 plus the 9 is going to take it up to a 13, which just beats their large animal threshold. So he has to roll a death save, but he only has to get above a 6. Oh, no, wait. No. This is something I have been failing to do the entire time. He soaks.
Indeed.
Soaks 4, which is going to take it down to a... so now I'll take it down to 5. He takes 5 damage.
Okay.
All right. So boom, 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 boom. You take the shots at the first one, couple in the head. That one drops. You turn and just take a couple more shots. Pow, 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 pow. Just John Wicking it up from the trees. You manage to catch it a couple of times, but these are more shoulder grazing shots as it kind of like dives to the side. It turns just like blood rage, like cat in the corner sort of feeling, and just rushes at Alfred. and leaps for him. All right,
Do we
attack.
need to make initiative rolls?
Yeah, actually we do. You're right.
Because technically those
Yeah,
were
'cause
stealth,
those-
right?
Yeah. Well, technically your shot would have been part of the initiative
I
too.
probably shouldn't have been allowed to make that second
Let's do it this.
attack.
Let's do it this way. We'll have an initiative roll between Alfred and the cat. You will have already acted. We'll do
Yeah,
that.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
My
It's
bad.
all right. It's no problem. I should have caught it. So you basically won initiative with that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take my token back since I actually didn't, make two in the same round.
Yeah. Go ahead. He is going to roll a 12 for his initiative.
All right, and initiative was roll plus agility, or no plus, just straight
Initiative is roll plus perception.
perception. Okay, 13.
Okay, you get to go first actually. So it's rushing you.
What
Yeah,
about the spike back, or is he
Hasn't done
kind of
anything
staying
yet.
out?
I've got
okay.
I've got something planned for the spike back.
Okay, so he's rushing me. I'm going to just attack. I'm going to see if I can't take him down before he takes me down. So that's going to be 15.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, rolls a 2 plus 5 is a 7. You know what? I'm gonna spend 2 to re-roll that. 2 momentum. He's re-rolling. I want to make this a little bit more challenging. And he rolls a 1. Huzzah! Fuck me for trying, right? So 1 plus 5 is 6. So what's your total again? You got a 15?
15, yeah.
All right, so that reduces it down to 10 damage. Then what's your sharp damage? Your plus
plus
damage
2.
and sharp plus 2. All right, so that's threshold damage. So you get a plus 2. So it brings it up to a 12. Then he soaks 5, which brings it back down to a 7.
Okay.
So he takes 7 points of damage. He is going to take an injury threshold. So give me a d20 roll so we can find out where he gets hit on that.
10.
10 is going to be... is going to be the torso, which will reduce their endurance score by 1, so he's soaking at 4 now.
Dang, he has a high endurance.
Yeah, they're big creatures. They're big, scary creatures. Like, those death saves kind of saved you guys a little bit. Just a tad. All right, so you cut him as he comes in. He kind of like steps past you with the first claw, then turns around kind of the opposite way, kind of trying to catch you off guard, and kind of rears up to kind of bat you with his claws, full claws coming out. And you kind of feel the fear a little bit. This is a giant fucking tiger creature coming after you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He gets a 13 to hit you.
13.
His claws do 2 sharp. If he hits.
So I roll against that. I haven't actually been attacked that much.
I know.
Yeah.
You
It's
roll.
your agility.
Yeah, your agility
That's
plus your weapon skill.
I don't have any more momentum to roll. All right, so agility plus weapon skill, so 11. Oh,
So you're getting hit.
I am getting hit.
That's what you're saying right now. All right.
It is.
So it's not too bad though. You got an 11. He got a 13 plus the 2 sharp. So that's going to be a total of 4 damage to you, which is, well, 4 threshold damage, which isn't going to take you to threshold. So you're only actually going to take 2 points of damage.
Okay.
So you manage to kind of like step backwards, kind of like sidestepping, and he manages to clip you just slightly on the chin, kind of almost like a bitch slap. And you kind of step back around, kind of spinning with it, blade in hand, and then it lands like. At this point, Silverback is going to enter the fray, but he has something completely different. Spikeback, sorry.
No gorillas.
So Silverback's a monkey. What's going on there? All right, Phil. Beat a 17. Defense-wise.
Defense-wise.
Uh-huh.
I hit a 17.
Ooh, sweet. Okay. All right. So here's how this plays out. You're focusing on the Sabercats right now, just like trying to help Alfred as he's deathlocked in it. You're kind of taking aim to take that second shot, not even thinking that the Spikeback would think of you guys as the threat yet. And then all of a sudden something wraps around your leg. And then suddenly you remember Spikebacks, unlike, velociraptors, have prehensile tails. And it just drags you out of the tree. You come flying down out of the tree. You crash to the ground. No damage. You manage to hit and kind of roll with it. You bring up the guns as it comes in over you with its mouth open. Give me an animal roll. Animal.
Charisma?
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to actually use an action to do something like this next round. So that
were you? Okay. In that case, I'll give you a momentum if you pass. We're gonna say difficulties a 10.
15.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Total.
So you bring up the gun. You turn around and bring up the gun to its mouth, right? As it opens its mouth, you can see intelligence flash in its eyes. Not intelligence like people intelligence, but higher than normal animal because it stops, like mouth open at you. Mouth is wide enough, so basically your hand with the gun is up to the side of its head, but its jaw is open around your head so that it could, bring it down on your face and snap. You're in a Mexican standoff with a velociraptor creature, basically. And it's just standing over you. All of it. It stops, and it's just kind of its one single eye is locked on you, and you just hear it start to click, like.
Since I sense the intelligence, I think I'm laying on my back, kind of, with the gun to its head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna almost like I know this is fucking stupid, but I take the gun away and kind of not drop my guns, but present them away from the Spikeback and just stare at it kind of like I'm backing down. Are you?
Give me a charisma check. Animal again.
Difficulty?
No difficulty. Just give me the roll. On purpose, no difficulty.
16 plus 3, 19.
Okay. All right. So you kind of pull the gun away from its head slowly, like hands kind of almost to your sides, almost up, and then you see it slowly back its jaw away. And then kind of close its mouth and turn towards you. It's still on top of you, kind of clicking at you. We're going to come back to you because Alfred, even though you're having basically a tryst with a dinosaur, Alfred is trying to fight this thing to save its life.
Tiger.
Okay, so your turn to act, man.
Yeah.
As it's just kind of like circling you, its big shoulder blades kind of raising and lowering as it steps to the side, watching you, blood like berserker wide eyes on you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to pull my sword away, and I'm gonna stab this thing a lot.
Wouldn't that be great? If, like you just tried to kiss it and then wait
he
for
looks
him.
over and sees me do it, and he's like, maybe.
You'd be more like,
What the?
all right. I'm gonna actually try, since I have a one-handed sword and a dagger. I was gonna try and do a two-handed attack.
All right. So with two-handed, let me get to that section real quick.
I know it if you want it.
He does
'cause
know
I use
it.
it all the time.
So you get to use an offhanded weapon in one of two ways. You can either use it offhanded offense or offhanded defense. Offhanded offense. This is when the character is using two one-handed weapons, one in either hand offensively. This method means the character has more options when attacking, but leaves them more open for attack. When using this method, on every attack, the player rolls 2 attack rolls simultaneously and keeps the better result. If the character is using 2 statistically different weapons, they must choose which dice is for which. Anyone attacking a character dual wielding in this way gets a +2 to this single mod. Note, ranged weapons with ammo must both expend ammo in use. So basically, if you're using it offensively, you'd have the dagger and the sword. You'd have to pick 1 dice to be the dagger, 1 dice to be the sword, which you get to roll both, and you get to take the higher roll. The higher roll is the one that hits, or if they can't defend. Okay. You can also use offhanded defense. This is when the character is using one-handed weapon for offense and the other in the second hand defensively. So kind of like backhanded, and you're using it to parry. This is basically the same effect, only reversed as the one above. The character gets to roll 2 dice and takes the best roll, while their opponent gets a +2 on their defense single mod, as they have much better idea of where the attacks are coming from. So you get to you get to roll 2 dice on defenses. I don't know why that's not actually in the roll, but you get to roll 2 dice on defense with the offhanded defense, basically.
Okay.
And then they get a +2 to defense, whereas with the offense, you're rolling 2, keep the best on offense, but they get a +2 to attack you.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
This is the first time it does. This is the first time I'm using this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and do offense. It's already injured.
Cha-ching!
Yeah. So yeah. Red dice is gonna be my sword. White dice is gonna be my dagger.
All right.
Okay. And the better of the two was actually the dagger.
Okay. What's that total?
So that's gonna be it's gonna be 19, including the sharp damage.
19, including the sharp damage. Okay, that's a pretty high roll. I'm gonna spend 2 momentum to give him a +4 on his defense, and still roll a 5. So we're gonna get 5 plus the 5 plus the 4, so it's going to be 14 total to defend. What was your total? It was 19, you said? Yeah. Before the threshold. What's the threshold on that? The sharp damage, I mean.
Just 1.
Just 1.
For the dagger.
Okay, so you beat him by 5 plus 1, that's 6, so that's still an injury. Sorry, that's still a threshold. Give me a d20 to find out where it hits him. Oh, wait. He soaks. Sorry, but he's soaking less. He's soaking 4. So you're only actually doing a point of damage to him.
Damn. That's not great.
That's not great. All right. So you're kind of using it two-handed. You swing the sword at him. He dodges to the side, but right into your dagger side. You manage to get the dagger into his shoulder, his big thundering shoulder, which kind of like moves with him. But he rears back, kind of leaps, kind of pulls himself up into the air and tries to just bring both claws down on you. I think he's going to go ahead and we're going to spend some momentum for him to use an effect, which you guys forgot about. Or maybe you haven't, but... Where are the effects? There they go. He's going to use a bleed effect for you. So if he hits, if successful, half the amount the target was beaten by will be applied to the target in the following round. Then the round after, but one less, until the number drops to 0. So you really don't want to get hit by this attack. But that does expend my well, no, I still have one left. One momentum left.
Cool. Okay.
It definitely changes things up with the soak. I've been failing to use soak, and that's been on me. 15 plus his 5 to attack, which gives him a 19 total to hit you.
Oh boy. Okay. We have to roll real well. Agility. And now, do I minus already off this one, or
What?
because I was using the two-handed attack, was it a minus or did you get a plus?
Oh, you're right. He does get a plus. So that's a 21 to hit you.
Okay.
And there's your reward for.
Because I'm using agility. Sorry, just double checking.
You're fine. You do have at least
8.
one momentum, by the way. You get a momentum for successful attacks.
That's true. I don't even know what I'd be able to use it for.
I don't think you use it for anything right now, but.
Yeah. 18.
18, so he hits you by, if he got 21 total, not including the sharp, he hits you by 3. Then you include the sharpen, that's another 2, so it's 5 total. Threshold, which is going to be a threshold on you.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. He's got to get a 6. I keep forgetting threshold is above. So you're going to take 4 points of damage to your vitality. You are also bleeding, which means next round you will take 2 points of damage. Then the round after that you will take 1 point of damage and then 0, unless he makes you bleed again, basically.
Okay.
So he brings down the claws, connects with your chest. Blood starts to kind of pour out of your chest, red. You stagger backwards. That's a huge chunk. A pain you have not felt in a very long time. It actually makes you cry out. We're going to go back to Nullus and the spike back. So you're looking at each other. What do you do, Nullus?
Well, so did he take his jaws off my...
Yeah, he took his jaws off you, he closed them, and now he's just kind of like... He's like 2 inches from your face, just dead staring you. Like the standoff's over, but he's not quite sure what to do next.
I'm not knowing if it's gonna work, but I like kind of... I would whistle and point one of my guns at that saber-toothed cat and see if it's gonna do what I want it to do.
All right. No more need for an animal roll. You go and you point at it and you see it just kind of turn towards the saber cat. It turns back towards you. Then it turns back to the saber cat and just leaps into the air towards the saber cat. Basically, Alfred, you are kind of locked in this death battle. You're starting to kind of lose. You're covered in blood. you got your swords in hand. You're like, ah! And then from behind it, you just see the giant velociraptor come down onto the saber cat's head. Let me make some rolls real quick. Oh shit! The bed, Fred. Okay.
Just so you know, Ash, I had taken companion. This is where this is trying to come from.
Okay, that's your
Yeah,
is that
feat. It's a perk. Sorry.
I had some role playing stuff for you guys, and then I was gonna do this kind of whole thing that maybe got you in with Gerald. So I was kind of like, this was finally gonna be the part where you guys linked up. So for him to miss it, I was like, well, I need to do some role playing here. But then Philbilly sent me a message like, I switched it up. I got Animal Companion now. I was like, let's do it. Plot made. All right, so the Velociraptor just comes down onto the back of this thing. It rolled a full 20. The cat rolled a 1. It digs its skin. It digs its whole, like, just chomps down, like, opens its mouth, hinges it, comes in sideways on the saber cat's head. You see the saber cat like squeal and like rear back, and the Velociraptor actually maintains its grip on the side of its head while it's trying to shake it off. And it's just like, ah! It's not quite dead yet, though. Alfred, your turn.
Yep, I'm killing the cat. I'm gonna attack the Velociraptor or the not the Velociraptor. Save my life.
No, this is like, I got the companion, and then my friend killed it immediately.
No. Let's see, 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
I'm not doing it two-handed this time. That was a little too much risk and brutality.
He rolls a 3, and I do not have momentum to re-roll it. So plus his 5 will put him up to an 8. So a dirty 20 is 12 over that. That is going to kill him, regardless of any rolls, because he was down to 4 health. So you step forward as it rears back with the Velociraptor on its back, and just straight thrust, like fencing style. You're kind of like saber right into its heart. Just you hear it kind of and fall backwards. The Velociraptor, the spikeback, kind of jumping off of its back and landing kind of to the side, kind of rolling off and kind of coming up with its claws kind of bristling, its spikes bristling, and it's looking at you like your lunch. Nellis, I'm going to need you to give me an animal handling charisma check. He likes you, he don't like Alfred.
What difficulty?
5.
Oh, okay. Should be good. Even with a 2, because my animal's 3 and my charisma's 3, so it's...
You're good.
8. Lucky for you, if there was a sheer roll.
It actually, you kind of whistle again, and then it stops.
Like, no.
It like clicks a little, and then it kind of looks at you. Animal noises provided by Lucasfilms. And it kind of like plops over towards you.
I kind of like put my hand out, and then when it puts its head down, kind of rub its snout, I guess.
You rub its snout, and it's actually confused at first, like it's taken back, and then it lets you rub its snout. I want you to quickly give me a... This is a tough one. Because it wouldn't necessarily be animal. Let me just really quickly look at the skills for this one. You know what? Yeah, it would be animal, but I'm going to make it perception. Animal perception, difficulty's high. It's going to be a 15 on this one. This is not to train it. This is for something else.
And what is this roll? I'm sorry.
Perception, animal, got to get above 15.
Okay. 12 plus 5, 17.
Okay, that's a good roll. Just by the way that you pet it, it's not used to attention, but you can tell that it is previously owned. That's how this thing got on here. It's not like a wild animal that the barbarians collected and set loose. This was definitely a very specific pet of something or someone. You're not exactly sure how it ended up on this ship in the chaos, but this spikeback was somebody's pet before you. However, it has attached itself to you. That's another thing that's weird to you, that it has attached to you so easily, even with just the situation that you had. There's something weird about it immediately being like, oh, yeah, definitely, we're together now. For a spikeback. Which makes you think maybe you have something in common with the previous owner.
Okay. I'm like, it'll be all right, Pickles.
Pickles! Yes, that is the name. That if I could go back and redo the description of this episode, it would be Meat Pickles. This is amazing. Amazing. That's going to be where we're going to end it for the night.
Pickles. On pickles.
We got to create pickles now. I think there are rules for creating pickles, so
Yeah, there
shouldn't be too bad. But we'll figure it off camera. That's not something everybody else has to be subjected to. But this has been episode 4 of Astral Drive. You got a little bit more of a look into the system, and then we got a nice little side quest. This is side quest action all the way on this one. Now, I'm going to say this because I do not want you guys to get too far ahead. You know what? It doesn't matter because there's a cap. We talked about it. So I will give out experience in the back end as per se usual, especially for role playing. You guys, I just want to give all experience later. This game, for everybody out there, does have a system where you can give out experience for exceptional role-playing and other stuff like that, which I'm definitely going to do. I've just decided I'm going to do it through direct messages to the players instead of break the action to be like, take an extra experience point. So they will get it, but we'll do that on the back end. We'll also make Pickles on the back end because I improvised most of his roles. So, did you guys have fun?
That was a blast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Anything you guys want to plug? And thank you again for being here. Philbilly330, I'll go to you first.
Not too much to plug. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I always look forward to the every other week, so hope you guys do too.
I am definitely having fun with this. I'm starting to feel a direction a little bit more. I do want to plug something for Philbilly. He is going to be guest starring on the podcast again. He's going to be guest hosting because Neil is out of town. For our normal gaming podcast, that is going to be 2 weeks, I think, from here. So there will be the second podcast from the one that was released this morning. We'll have Philbilly on it. And we're going to... I haven't told Philbilly this, but we're going to talk about his favorite subject because I'm trying to keep things happy on the gaming podcast. We're going to talk strategy games. All kinds of strategy games. Strategy games. Up and down. But I'm not done letting people plug. Wizard's Respite. What would you like to plug, buddy?
I've been doing a lot of research on the TTRPG market, and I'm producing the content that I have put together now. So I already have 2 articles out. One kind of big overview of the content of the type of data I've collected as far as the sales trends in the TTRPG industry, and then one a little bit more centered on genre. Now it's going to be my next one, which is dropping this weekend. Going to be focused on actually a surprisingly successful genre for me. I was surprised, which is the family gaming. I'm going to be talking about the sales trends in family gaming for TTRPGs. So yeah, I'm going to try and hit just about everything important to any writer out there.
Man, I want to read that because I'm
That sounds really cool.
very interested in family gaming. Stella, for the first time the other day, played this role playing game with me at 7. I had to make a really crazy storyline about her going to Zelda Land, but still, it was she actually played it, got really excited, and talked about it afterwards. So that's something I'm very interested in too. My dream is to one day run a game with my daughter, Phil, and Phil's daughters.
That would be cool.
That's my dream, to have like a family game that way. But as far as what we have to offer, I am actually technically on vacation next week. So and I say technically because we still have a fuck ton of content dropping on the channel because I'm a psychopath. But there won't be any TTRPG content next week. We're getting that all out today. I do want to really quickly, for the TTRPG, people say that we are wrapping up the TMNT and other strangeness. The initial storyline for Tex the Armadillo will wrap up tomorrow night. I'm kind of excited about that. You could join us back here at basically the same time, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time. And then next week, we won't have any TTRPG stuff, but my normal gaming stuff, we will have all of that. OMGM is still going up. We have an episode of the podcast pre-recorded, which is going to be the Return of the Horrible Arena. Then there is where me and Neil pitch games against each other. It's a good one, if I do say so myself. And then we also have the Prelude, which you guys are loving. And I just want to say, this weekend, first Prelude, me and Melissa play Hogwarts together.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Don't miss it.
I thought that was single player.
It is. So the way I decided to do it, because she's actually read a couple of the books to Stella, is I'm playing it because I'm doing all the Twitch-based stuff, but she made herself in the game, and she's making all the talking decisions and all the decisions of where we go. So like when it comes to the fighting and the action, I got it covered, and then she makes all the calls about who to talk to and how to talk to it. It is fun. I am so happy to just like right off the bat, I'm making fun of her for Harry Potter stuff. It's great. It's great. Please check that out. And that's it. The last thing is for the gaming company. If you are interested in wrestling or single player narrative driven stuff, I recently published a game called Getting Over for only $4 on Drive-Thru Games. You search Getting Over and you're going to get mine. It is the one and only wrestling promoter simulation journaling game. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but it is unique unto itself. I do stream those usually on Mondays. That will be coming back a week from this Monday. Please go back and check the last one out because it was my first pay-per-view. I did it alone, but the matches were absolutely amazing. Best things I've ever done, and it really shows the power of that game for a wrestling fan and creativity. I'm done finally talking. Thank you guys for playing. Thank for anybody for watching this on the back end or live. We will be back in 2 weeks with episode 5. Hopefully we'll have Aether Dios back here. And that's it. As long as you guys keep watching, listening, we'll keep making it. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.